Greetings, and you have been pulled into the black dimension. This is Kev coming to you with this entertainment news. And when I say entertainment, I mean sports entertainment. Vince McMahon has retired from the WWE. This is a day that many thought that they would never see, especially with the sentiment from like many sources, including professional wrestlers, would say that Vince McMahon probably won't be leaving the WWE till he dies. And from there, you would be thinking, what else could make the chairman and CEO of the WWE leave his position on a company that he quite frankly, built to be the juggernaut. He didn't start it. Um, believe it was started by his father, Vincent J. McMahon, but upon his father's passing, Vince would take over the company and take it into the stratosphere. So the product was, his baby, even though it was started by someone else. Now, I started tuning into the WWE when I was a young child. I mean, it was a huge part of my childhood, and I would say it mostly started. It started before Vince's company. Like I would watch NWA with Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Tommy Wildfire Rich, guys like the Road Warriors, guys like that. But really, what started the WWE for me, I think my first real huge memory was Tuesday Night Titans, and pretty soon after that was the world title victory from Hulk Hogan, which was real huge. Yeah, from there I would come to know Vince McMahon is just someone that did color commentary. But for a long time you didn't know Vince McMahon was the boss. Um Vince Vince would always be there as an ever presence, but they would do things like kayfabe presidents, like one in particular was Jack Tunney. Um Yeah, and from there, just like I said, a lot of wrestling history being made. Vince McMahon would be the eventual winner in all of the rivalries, crushing everyone that stood in his way, including some independent territories. And while there were um, promotions and fans that did not like uh, bigger names like Vince doing that in particular, um, is you can't deny the fact that Vince was when that train came running through. There were hardly any survivors. Though that was kind of a way of putting it. But the two big names in town were WWE and WCW. And Vince, through his innovation and making the right moves, got the WWE through an era of wrestling where they almost lost and they were close to the end. Where Vince would lose a lot of money in the '90s, but due to the controversy that finally got him retired, where a lot of that money went. It apparently throughout his career, he was paying women hush money, and that's what eventually brought about this retirement. Which, I see it this way: if if those women, if those women would have stuck to their original deal, the hush money would have actually been hush money. But I guess since Vince McMahon is a guy that sits on a mountain of cash, they figured that hey, once they were done with their money that they were given in the first place, they could go ask for more, or they could just go ahead and spill the beans about McMahon. And this is what happened. I mean, you got a guy who went from a color commentary to finding out that he was the actual boss, then created a character because you found out that was the actual boss, which is exactly how wrestling works. Art imitates life, but I don't think they're gonna do a little storyline angle on the McMahon controversy. a lot of people would say that that is something that's to be ashamed of and always leave women in a vulnerable position. But, that's just the way things roll in the media. And, there are many people that are not proud of what McMahon has done. So there would be some people that would probably be happy that Mr. McMahon is no longer in his position. And when it was first reported that he had retired from his position, people were like, well, he'll still be in charge of creative. And come to find out, that's not the case either. Um, a lot of people, a lot of fans in particular, complained about Vince McMahon in the latter years of his career because he seemed to have lost touch with his fans, and lost touch with the fans altogether, and not trying new and innovative ways to, become the best product they could be, because there were others out there competing with WWE, whether WWE thought saw him as competition or not. Lots of wrestlers would not go to the WWE because they didn't trust their careers and their legends and legacies with Vince McMahon, and rightfully so. You also even had Triple H, who turned NXT from a show where wrestlers were doing goofy games to an actual sports entertainment product. And you'll have Vince doing things like banning words like wrestling, and, banning certain moves, and, just trying to play everything close to the nose, and not really addressing why the fan support was slipping. Because, let's face it, Vince McMahon is the billionaire. I mean, what can you actually tell a billionaire? Seriously, I'm being as serious as I can possibly be with this. What can you tell a billionaire? So, I mean, but for people who are glad that he's gone, I don't know why. I would say, I mean, I can understand some people who felt like those poor women were victimized instead of just being women who got a payoff and that was it. I mean, it just, I believe they got something in return, and if you had to pay them off, they should have just kept their mouths shut. But that's unfortunately not how this world works. Um, I mean, ethically, yes, is wrong. Is Vince McMahon, is he new to controversy? No, he isn't. I mean, he had a controversy going about steroid use and distribution in his locker room, and Hulk Hogan and other wrestlers were at the center of that. Then, not many people remember he had this harassment uh, claim going around by a wrestler named Barry Orton. Um, it just been many, many a times where he was accused of mistreatment of his superstars. Uh, yeah, but most of that was stuff that was people who were bitter and were on some sour grapes because they felt like their careers didn't go in the direction that it should have gone. But yeah, that comes with being at the top. So Mr. McMahon, Mr. Vince McMahon, I mean his character was named Mr. McMahon on TV. Um, McMahon didn't let me see. He survived all of it. And the controversy this time just caught up with him. And because of this, he just saying, "Hey, you know what? And with this tweet, I got the tweet. He just said at 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe, then, now, forever, together. Hashtag WWE, hashtag thankful." Um, yeah, as a wrestling fan, I can say that Vince McMahon had been the driving creative muscle behind over 40 years worth of television. And for all of that to change just like that suddenly is a shakeup. If you're a fan, there should be some concern. Your product may never be the same. I mean, he's a genius behind guys like Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker. I mean, some of these ideas came from other guys, but with him pushing it, then those storylines and those characters reach their iconography, especially pulling the trigger on a guy like Hulk Hogan. Now, I don't particularly like Hulk Hogan, especially all after all of the recordings being released where his flagrant use of the N word. But my disdain for Hulk Hogan started before that. WWE wasn't perfect, but it's like for all of the good things that you remember, behind all of that was Vince McMahon. And if you are a wrestling fan, I definitely believe that Vince McMahon is the reason why the wrestling industry has survived so long. Even with guys like AEW and TNA and ROH, WWE, whether their wrestling product itself was better or worse than those guys, which at times the smaller guys they would have better quality wrestling, but it would always be put at odds with Vince McMahon being at the helm of the WWE. Like WWE was just a benchmark, and it's because of this man. Now Stephanie and Triple H taking over um, might be a good thing or a terrible thing. I mean, good thing because I saw what Triple H did with NXT. Terrible thing is because Vince McMahon is not included in the process. I believe in the coming weeks, in the coming months, that people will see what a difference Vince McMahon actually made. It's just it is what it is. We'll see the difference, and whether people like there were people that would say that the Vince McMahon was out of touch with the audience, but was he really? So if you are a wrestling fan like I am, it'd be interesting to see what we're tuning into in the coming weeks without Vince McMahon's influence. But I'll tell you this: I'm not that naive. I don't believe that the influence of McMahon will go anywhere soon. I mean, some of the product might actually have some good and welcome changes. Hopefully, the product isn't uh, the changes in the product isn't a detriment to the company itself. But just the controversy was the one thing that unfortunately took the man out. So, just a shout out to Vince McMahon and the difference that he made, especially in my life as far as given me one of the few things that I did grow up watching and will be indelible in my memories forever. So, just a big old thank you to Vince McMahon, and hopefully your product doesn't go in the tank. So, that's it for now. This is Kev, and you have been pulled into the black dimension. Good luck finding your way out. Until the next time.